What should you never do in the United States? Try and bribe a police officer. Not just bribery. Apparently, in some countries, if you get a ticket for something, you can actually pay the fine to the police officer on the spot. NFL kicker and Raiders legend Sebastian Janikowski was arrested and almost deported back to Poland for trying to bribe a police officer, until he convinced the court that he just thought that's how it legitimately works. I've been to places where you can pay the policeman for a traffic violation. For some reason, it's about half the amount if you take the ticket than pay officially. Things that make you go In German-speaking countries, Germany, Austria and probs also Switzerland, this is actually legally how it works for minor offenses. So I wouldn't be too surprised if it's the same in Poland, as a neighboring country of Germany. It works like this: if you drive, let's say 10 km per hour above the limit and get pulled over, you can either pay €20 on the spot or get a letter home for a fine of €50. If you pay on the spot, you do get a receipt for your payment, and you can even pay by card, provided that the police car is equipped with that tech. You lose all your rights to dispute the fine, however. If you choose to receive a letter home, you could theoretically make use of your right to dispute the fine, if you believe that it is unrightful. I think this is done as an incentive for drivers to pay on the spot, so that the costly, administrative effort that comes with the offense is kept minimal. Get out of the vehicle during a traffic stop. I did not know this. Here in Australia, we are perfectly okay to get out of the vehicle unless the cop says otherwise. Man, I could never imagine getting out for any reason if I got stopped. Cut in line. I've been in countries, example, Spain, where lines queues are more of a vague suggestion of who goes first. This is not true if you cut in line in the US. Cutting in line in the US can literally lead to violence. While you guys cut each other in lines and that doesn't cause violence? That's such a huge faux pas in the US that genuinely I thought that was a global thing, haha. Shows little respect for the people waiting before you, in my opinion. It's a pretty English thing. The English actually value the queue more than Americans, I think. If a cop pulls you over, don't get out of the car. Place your hands on the wheel and wait, they will come to you. Also, turn the vehicle's ignition off. Remove your sunglasses. Turn off the radio. Roll down your windows, particularly if they are tinted. Turn on the interior lights at night. And don't reach for anything in the vehicle without being asked to do so, and even then announcing your intentions. My rental paperwork? Yes, it's in the center console. By the way, all this and more I learned very early in my driving career from a great book called A Speeder's Guide to Avoiding Tickets, by James M. Egan, a retired New York State trooper. It also has other safety applications as well. All these things are designed to calm down Officer Neckvein, as he's referred to in the book. The book seems to be out of print, but it's well worth the read if you can find it. My parents told me this. First time I got pulled over, I did it, and the cop said something like, "Gee, you must get pulled over a lot, huh?" Don't talk to your wife about trying New York pizza in Arabic on a plane to New York. Why not? I heard New York pizza is the bomb. I'd give it a 9/11. You've been waiting years for this. Or about buying a Porsche 911 while on a helicopter tour. Cunt is considered a very vulgar word here that would be highly inappropriate to say casually. On the other hand, fanny, in American English, is a rather innocent slang word for someone's posterior. It's entirely appropriate to say, "Get your fanny over here," to a young child. As I understand it, if you said that to a child in the UK, you might find yourself having a chat with law enforcement. Don't try to cheat the IRS. They will fuck your life into oblivion. There are 3 things all wise men fear: the sea in a storm, a night with no moon, and a jilted IRS. The IRS did what the FBI and no other agencies ever could: put Al Capone in prison and overthrow FIFA's leadership. To this day, I'm convinced that if Osama bin Laden tried to cheat the feds with taxes, they'd have found and captured him within a month after their accountants verified the money trail. At least in Tennessee, you should never say anything unkind about Dolly Parton. I mean, you shouldn't in general. She's a lovely woman. Dolly is so cool. When inducted into the Rock Hall of Fame, she openly said she didn't deserve it because she wasn't a rock artist. Rock Hall of Fame was like, "Too bad you're in." So Dolly makes a rock album. It's cute how as soon as someone says Dolly, someone else drops a random fact about her. Dolly Parton entered a Dolly Parton look-alike contest and lost. Say the N-word. I was overseas and a guy in a bar asked if people in the US disliked black people. But he did not say black people. I suggested that he not say that word in the future. Ralphie. Oh, black people! Only I didn't say black people. Engage with someone acting like a crazy person on the road. They might shoot you. This is not exaggerated. I live in a really safe area and we have had a few horrible road rage shooting cases over the past few years. Had a cousin get followed to a gas station by a guy he didn't even realize he cut off. The guy came and hit him in the face with a wrench while was pumping gas. I always get nervous now if someone I'm riding with starts to escalate a road interaction. Think that you can pee in an empty alley on your way home from the bars. A surprisingly large percentage of my European acquaintances have had a great experience of spending a few hours early morning hours in the drunk tank in various American cities because it's really not that big of a deal in most of Europe. I'd add that it's illegal to consume alcohol in most public spaces, sidewalks, parks, in much of the US. Exceptions: New Orleans, beer, wine, and Denver parks. Public spitting isn't usually well received. The average American does not usually enjoy talking politics in their frequented public spaces. Assume public transport is timely. Light up a cigarette without knowing local laws to the space. There are places you can't smoke a cigarette other than like the obvious places? Like a town or something. Well, nowhere indoors and most outdoor public places. Pretty sure it's free game for the most part after that. Do not run or move fast and unpredictably when stopped by cops. Sorry, reading this as a non-American is so weird, it's like you're talking about what to do if you come across a bear. Have you not seen them? Our cops are similar to bears. They just have guns instead. Well, you do have the right to arm bears. It's in the Second Amendment. Don't take pictures or record videos of strangers' children. I've had to warn many people coming over from Asia about this. Some have ignored me and it has led to screaming and threats. Genuinely curious, in other cultures, when might someone do this? Someone in China literally handed me their baby and took a picture of me with it. Everything happened so fast and I was so confused. I didn't want the baby or my picture taken. My friend's 3-year-old daughter ended up on the Humans of New York Instagram page and got hundreds of thousands of likes. She was pissed. Assume everyone has a gun. Not assume that everyone has a gun. Don't base your entire opinion and generalization of the country just from one part or particular region. Cultures, values, and people are so different all over the US. Yeah, LA is just a wee bit different than Alabama. Get injured sick without insurance. You're honestly better off just dying. The worst thing is you can't even choose just dying. If something happens and emergency is called, they'll take you to the hospital against your conscious consent and charge you. That would really piss me off. If something happens and someone decides to save me, don't charge me for it. Walk onto someone's property without permission, or knowing the owner. It's cool in many places around the world to be able to go wandering through the countryside. It is not cool in the US. You might end up getting arrested, held at gunpoint, or shot at if you're really unlucky. When a policeman asks you for your documents, flirt with him and tell him. Try to take it away. I tried it, then I lay in handcuffs and without documents. Never point a gun-like object at the police, no matter age or situation. Never talk to the police without a lawyer present. Don't rent Airbnb. The fees will eat you alive. Just get a hotel. Don't assume a stray dog is friendly. Our strays are usually pretty scared, aggressive. If you're anywhere south of North Carolina and east of Texas, don't get into fresh water. Let your dogs or kids in there without being very aware of where you are and what's floating around. If you see an alligator looking your way, and then it goes under, get the fuck away from the shore. Do not eat fish you caught in waterways and around the city canals and waterways. They're probably toxic. Don't swim in the ocean without a lifeguard present. If you aren't from a country with a lot of beaches, you won't be able to recognize rip currents, jellyfish, or sharks feeding on a school of fish near the shore break. Don't discuss politics in open, normal meeting places. We prefer to save those discussions for places like the bar, home, private parties, etc. American politics is pretty polarizing, and almost always ends up just becoming an annoyance. Don't drive on the correct side of the road, drive on the right side. Don't miss your chance to go to a real, solid barbecue restaurant. Don't miss the opportunity to go to a Western bar, or listen to some country music. Not everyone likes it, but it's some very traditional American culture. Don't order a cheap beer here unless you want it to be very watered down. Craft beer is the closest to what most people drink elsewhere, and we drink our beer cold. Do not expect to rely on public transportation unless in a major metro, and particularly the proper of the metro. Do not expect public transportation to be timely, efficient, or not be full of questionable people. Don't get weird when random people want to talk to you, smile, interact. It's totally normal here. I talk to strangers all the time at the dog park while waiting for things. Do not get into street fights. On top of the constant stabbings, people coming back to shoot someone after getting beat up, 1.5% or so of us having had military combatives training to some degree, and a shit ton of people carry guns concealed for protection. It's kinda the wild, wild west here compared to most places. Also, Americans are super fucking diverse. Don't generalize us, because it's super easy to just take a drive and meet an almost entirely different culture of people. What should you never do in the United States? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.